Interested in seasons with my work, and each one has its own individual character and colours and everything. So I thought it would be really interesting just to follow one place through all the seasons, and just really get to know it.
And did you notice those really subtle changes? Because, of course, we're all used to seeing the explosion of colour at autumn and the greens in the spring, but were you picking up on the tiny things?
Yeah, that was the amazing thing, because week to week you see gradual changes. Not that I was going to exactly the same part of the gardens each week, but you pass the same tree or pass the same patch of ground and you can see things coming through, and you can see the leaves just changing colour. And also, the whole process of doing it involved sort of standing or sitting in a particular place for some time doing a drawing. And the wonderful thing about sort of sitting and drawing is that you're still and you're quiet. And partly you're experiencing in a much more heightened way. So you can sort of hear all the sounds of the birds, and you can get the feeling of the breeze and the smells and everything. But also being still, you do get sort of quite a lot of the wildlife. And that's what's wonderful, actually, just sort of seeing coots here that sort of come really close, and you can see there's little sort of territorial battles going on.
Really?
That's great.
And they get used to you.
They do, yes. Yeah.
Let's pick out a few things. So, it's up to you. Go on.
Yeah, well, I mean, each one is kind of representative of each week, so they're very much dependent on the weather. This first one here, there was a lot of activity going on. This is the middle of February, so it's not the first painting, but it's kind of first in the exhibition. There was a lot of clearing going on, and there was a fire, and the smoke going up was so blue, set against the sun, which was a sort of a morning sun, lighting up those winter trees almost gold. So you had that blue against the gold, and that was what really attracted me to that. And then there's one over here. This one was done at exactly the time of the eclipse.
Really?
Yeah. So I was sitting there drawing as the eclipse happened. And it was very cloudy, but I did get this glimpse of, just the slightest glimpse of the sun being covered. But part of that is artistic license. You're not supposed to look at the sun.
No, you're not. Yeah. But you've got the inclusion of yellow. Were these the daffodils that were coming out?
But I was trying to get that feeling, because what was amazing was the change of colour. So it had much more of a twilight feel about it. So I wanted to get that feeling of the muted yellow, and the silhouettes of the trees almost had that purpley quality to them. You get it, twilight.
Let's move through the year.
Yes,
so
we're moving through spring now, and you can see. So this is in April, this one, and it's all of those ferns, those waterside ferns, unfolding. And it's just at that moment where you have that wonderful kind of spirally thing happening, and they're just unfolding, and I wanted to get that feeling. So
there's so many people have painted Stourhead and have painted the views. Why was it important for you to come here?
Well, it's somewhere I've been to so much. I know it so well. I used to bring my children here, I used to walk them around in their buggies endlessly, and then more recently brought my mum here. I used to run classes here, drawing classes here. It was a perfect place to send students out and for them to find little spots to do drawing. I used to lose them all the time.
Really? And I guess they all come back with different things.
Exactly.
Don't they?
That's what's wonderful. Everyone has a different vision. I mean, the thing about Stourhead is there are some standard views which everyone seems to gravitate towards. And I did always try and encourage my students to find something different. And that's very much what I've tried to do. So with a lot of these, I've sort of hidden myself away into bits of scrubland and gone up into the woods. Some lovely views up in the woods from quite high up down over the lake. It can be really beautiful. It is really beautiful.
Yeah. I wonder if we can have a quick look at your sketchbook.
Absolutely.
Because I'm really aware that it's this book that's been the constant that
it stayed with me. So
it's done well to survive all the elements.
It certainly has. There are some places where I can't even find it now. That's
5th
the one.
of November.
That's the 5th of November. That's the one that got rained on. You can see the paper is all crinkled still from that. It's really interesting. That's the only day it snowed as far as I can remember, in 2015, 3rd of February. So I recorded that. And there was this sort of thin covering of snow, and it was lovely. The trees had a sort of a blast of snow on the branches. It was great. it went quite quickly. But, yeah.
And can I ask you when all this started? So, do you remember the first time you picked up a paintbrush and realised?
Actually painting.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
yeah.
gosh, I can't remember a time when I wasn't
Really?
actually painting. So I think I was sort of predestined to do this sort of thing. I went to art college. I went down the graphic design route to start off with, but very quickly realised I just had to draw. I had to be drawing. So, 35 years or so have been drawing and trying to work as a professional artist. Yeah.
And what does it mean for you, as someone who lives nearby, who's brought your kids here, has brought your mum here? What does it mean for you to have your work here at Stourhead?
Perfect. I mean, it had to be, for me, it had to be shown here, definitely. And I'm really hoping that people will come, they'll go for a walk around the gardens, and they'll be able to come back and they'll be able to look at a painting and say, oh yes, I can see where that was. I've even got a map on the wall here.
Like a trail?
A trail map.
Oh, brilliant.
Which has got numbers which refer to the numbers of each study. So you can see that this is number 1 here.
Okay, so that's where we start.
Was drawn from that point. Yeah. And so I think I've done all right. There are 1 or 2 gaps that I could come back to and do more, but...
And that's the thing, that if you spend the time, sit down, there's always something to see. And that's the beauty of it.
To be honest, if I'd had the time, I could have come every day and found something different. I really could. Because always there's something new. And what's interesting was that after I finished a drawing on a particular day, then I would walk back. And I suppose partly because having gone through the process of drawing, your eye is more receptive. I was constantly seeing other things I could have drawn or should have drawn or something. Yeah.